Good day, my plant foldies. This is Richie at Grow Folds, and today we will be big box store plant shopping at the Home Depot in North McKinney, Texas. As always, please make sure you are hitting that like button as well as following me on Instagram at Grow Folds. So today I am actually visiting this Home Depot. I just got off of work and it has been an extremely busy day. But I wanted to go end my day with a little bit of plant therapy. I wanted to go ahead and check out this Home Depot right here and see what that all entailed. So this is going to be a relaxing night shopping video for all of our plant foldies. For those that are new to this channel, I call my viewers and subscribers plant foldies. And welcome to the channel. But as always, if you like that 1 hour plant shopping video on a daily basis, please make sure you are subscribing to this channel with the notification bell on. It looks like the sun is about to set, but I did want to take a little bit of time to look at some of these outdoor plants. I will get into the indoor tropical plants once I get inside this Home Depot. Now, I haven't visited this Home Depot in quite a bit, and I do like doing these big box plant shopping videos, and I particularly like to go show Home Depot because Home Depot does have some interesting plant finds. There are hundreds of plants that you can choose and pick from, and I did want to also show you guys some of the products I use for some of my plant shopping plant care tips. So let's go ahead and just check out some of these heat tolerant plants right here. It looks like we've got some containers of zinnia plants. Now, I love zinnia plants. These are beautiful flowers that are easily grown from seed. I have grown these quite often year after year. I actually have some seeds that I just threw in my backyard and they ended up sprouting. These ones are only for $29.98. I love the look of zinnia flowers. It is an easy to care for flower. Now, the only thing about zinnias is that they need to be out in full sun. They are susceptible to powdery mildew if you water the foliage. Like, just make sure that you're not watering the leaves too often. They prefer to be out in full sun, so you want to keep them more so on the drier side. But as you can see right here, this Home Depot has quite a bit of plants outside of the outdoor section. They've already got the gate closed to go into the outdoor section, so I'm going to have to go through the actual main store. I am going to walk over here, and this is also for $29.98, a full container of lantana. So I have been obsessing about lantanas just because lantanas are very heat tolerant plants. They are spreading, they are mounding, and they make great ground cover for areas that really have hot climates like North Dallas, which is where I'm based at. We get 100+ degree weather in the summertime. It is already in the mid 90s, but it also feels like 100 degrees. But these are plants that are really tolerant to very hot weather. They are drought tolerant as well. They are vigorous growers, and they come in many beautiful colors. I like that pink color as well as this red color. These almost remind me of like marigolds. And I like that they have that look as well. But you can see right here, you've got some oranges, you've got some reds. It's a really nice look for these plants. I'm definitely a fan of lantana. They're also inexpensive as well, and they grow very fast. So, you talk about plants that I'm interested in. I love plants that are also fast growing because I think as plant collectors or plant lovers, we always want to have updates on new growth, how big a plant gets. And whenever you have a plant that's a little bit more vigorous and growing and just a fast growing plant, it's a little bit more satisfying, at least in my opinion. Now we're going to walk over here and just take a look at some more of these plants. I didn't even realize on the side of the Home Depot we have even more plants here. You can see we've got a bunch of hanging baskets of vinca flowers. Vinca flowers are also heat tolerant flowers, so they would make perfect additions to a hot climate like Texas. Now, my grow zone is 8B, which means I have to really look at plants that can grow from my climate. Whenever you're growing outdoor plants, which can also be grown indoors, there are certain ones that I would recommend and I have been experimenting with. You really want to get to know your grow zone, what plants are considered perennials, what can become annuals. And for those that don't know what perennials are, again, perennials are plants that you can plant into your landscape, and depending on your grow zone, will grow through a growing cycle. So they will grow through spring, summer, fall, and then die off in the winter. but if they are a perennial, they will come back again in spring or early summer. So perennials I would consider as permanent plants once they're grown into the landscape, depending on your grow zone. So always check your grow zone. And then annuals are plants that will grow for just one season and then die off when winter comes. But you can see here they've got a bunch of rose trees, which I think are really cool. And then we've got a beautiful Fatsa japonica right here. Japanese Aurelia, I love those as well. I am gonna go get a large one from a local plant nursery called Green Acres, which surprisingly is literally just up the road north from this Home Depot. It is in Melissa, Texas. If you haven't already, check out the Green Acres video. I've featured about 2 of them for the Melissa location, and I would love for you guys to check that out. I have been doing a lot of plant shopping videos. I've been trying to do a mixture of big box store videos as well as local plant shopping videos, just because I wanted to give you guys a little bit more of a different variety. And if you notice, I have been more so blogging about my personal life in between my plant shopping video shots, just to give you updates about me personally. For those that don't know me, my name is Richie, and one of my biggest hobbies is to grow plants. I am faceless at the moment, but for those that have run into me in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, I really have appreciated meeting some of our local plant foldies. Now, these are for $19.98. You've got some beautiful agave here. So we've got some sorted agave. We've got some cactus right over here, and you can see that cactus come in so many different shapes and forms and colors. You can see over here we've got another beautiful agave. This one is for $29.98 by Smart Plants. This one has some nice variegation right over here. With agave and all of these cactus plants, they are going to need a lot of light. Now, since they are cactus succulent type plants, not all of them will do well in just full sun. So you're going to have to do your research on that. I kind of learned that the hard way when I grew an Aeonium kiwi in full sun, and it just ended up frying. So I was surprised because I just assumed that most cactus and succulents are desert type plants and would really just benefit from just growing in full sun, but that is not the case. But you can see all of these cactus right there are 50% off. Love a good plant savings. You know, whenever you're going plant shopping, it's always nice to find plants on sale. And in all of these assorted cactus and succulent type landscape plants are all for $29.98. Look at the variegation on this agave right here. I find agave interesting in the fact that they look like succulents like Echeveria, but they are more like a cactus as well because the tips of their leaves are very pointy. There is that sharp needle right there. And then you can see we've got some more succulents and cactus here. I did end up getting 2 more succulents to add to my collection. They were 2 different varieties of Aeonium. So if you haven't already, definitely check out Aeoniums. They are my favorite succulent. I think it's because I saw the full potential of those plants whenever I took a trip out to Carmel by the Sea, California. They just had them growing in the landscapes. And I believe most succulents do well in landscapes in California. I suppose it's because they have temperate weather, like their weather is very consistent. There's nothing extreme about it. They don't get extreme cold. They don't get extreme heat, or at least that's what I saw when I was on the coast. So I think that's a really interesting factor when it comes to, you know, climate conditions. And then over here, we've got a papaya tree. So my family is from the Philippines, and I'm really excited that I'll be going to the Philippines later this month. So I will be on vacation for a good 18 days. But one thing I will say is in the Philippines, there are papaya trees just everywhere. They just kind of grow randomly as well. So I will try to get mature specimens of that. Now, for those that are going to be concerned about whether I'll be able to get some new content out there, I've already scheduled some plant compilation marathons of some of my previous work, but they are about a good 2 to 3 hour long compilation video of plant shopping videos. Some of them you may not have seen, especially for our new subscribers. So I really hope that you guys will tune in specifically just to chat. You know, I make plant shopping videos, longer ones, at least an hour, so we can all meet up and be part of the live premiere chats. I can't thank all of our local plant foldies enough for always tuning walking into the live premieres. It's really interesting, the type of chat we have. It's a very positive community. So if you are watching this video live for the first time during the live premiere chat, please make sure you are saying hello. Now we are going to be walking into the garden section. So they've actually taken a lot of their indoor plants and taking them outdoors. Typically when I go to this Home Depot, they have a bunch of like their proven winter plants out here, actually indoors, but now they've got them outdoors. So I'm just going to pan over here and show you what plants they have available. And you can see that whenever you go big box store plant shopping at night, that there's not a lot of people out and about. So it's easy for me to just walk around and show you guys the different types of plants and even the plant supplies that I use. So I just wanted to show you a couple of things that I use for my plants. One of my supplements that I use for my plants is Super Thrive. I really think that Super Thrive is an amazing vitamin, plant vitamin for your plants. So if you have some plants that are not doing as well, using Super Thrive, watering them with that actually helps perk them up. They're also good for whenever you're doing repotting or plant propagations. That's a really good supplement you can do. And an Osmocote Plus, that is a good slow release fertilizer that you can mix in your soil as well as the top of your soil. It is another all-purpose type fertilizer, and I know some people may disagree with me, but I honestly just use all-purpose plant food Miracle Grow. It's the 20-20-20 variety, so it has just an even fertilizer for a plant. I think that all-purpose fertilizer really does give me some really good growth. Now there's some more specialized fertilizers, but Miracle Grow does that well for me. And for me, I actually end up buying Miracle Grow fertilizer from Costco because you can get a huge deal and a really good price at the same time as well. Now we're gonna go look at some of these hanging baskets by Vigoro. What I love about Vigoro hanging baskets is these are for $19.98. You will always go to a big box store like Home Depot and see this type of hanging basket fixture. As you can see here, we've got some spider plants. Really like the look of spider plants, and then we can see that there are other hanging plants like the Epipremnum Aureum Jade Pothos. I love the look of the Epipremnum Aureum Jade Pothos as well. One of the easiest plants to take care of, and notice how it is already trailing over there, and we can see that it is gorgeous. And the thing I like about Jade Pothos as well is it is just such a fast growing plant. It can tolerate lower light conditions. You can grow it up as a hanging basket like this, or you can let it grow up a totem pole. Now, if you grow it up a totem pole, it'll actually get larger leaves. And that's one thing that most people may not see, that the Jade Pothos or Pothos plants actually in the wild get really large leaves because their natural habitat is for them to attach their aerial roots on like a tree. They can get up to like 60 feet tall. It is really amazing once you see them in the wild. Now here's another philodendron I love. This is a philodendron Hederaceum Brazil. It is a common heart-shaped leaf philodendron, and it is one that actually has its variegation, or the coloration is influenced by the amount of light you give it. So if you give it more light, it'll have more bright yellow stripes on it. And in speaking of bright yellow colors, this one is an Epipremnum Aureum Neon Queen Pothos. This one is also for $19.98. It looks like it's got a little bit of bird feces right over here. It looks like somebody just kind of took a little dump on the leaves, but at the same time you can still see that this is a beautiful hanging basket of pothos. I show this often in pretty much every single one of my videos, but it is one of my favorite pothos plants. So like plant foldies, let me know what you think about these hanging baskets that you see at Home Depot. Do you feel like it's a good price for it? I would love to hear from the comments. Same thing with this Monstera adansonii. Now with Monstera adansonii, I think that they're actually better grown up a totem pole or a moss pole versus growing them up as like a hanging basket, because when you let a Monstera adansonii trail, the leaves get smaller and smaller, so you don't really get that nice beautiful fenestration, all of those splits in the leaves. I do think that it is an interesting plant to grow, especially when you let it grow to its maturity on a totem pole. Now here is a Pilea peperomoides, or a Chinese money plant, or a UFO plant. Now this is one of those plants that used to be very expensive. It was the it plant, and it's because it has such a unique looking foliage on it, the shape of the leaves. And what's interesting is, if you notice, for this hanging basket, it's for $19.98. You can see there are several little baby pups coming out of it. So it is another plant that like self-propagates. So it's easy to multiply this plant. I am looking for a variegated version of the Pilea peperomoides. I don't have the green version. I would love to get one, because there's actually a Instagram account that's in, I think, Slovakia, that has one of the biggest Pilea peperomoides I've ever seen. If you ever follow my Instagram account, which is @growfolds, you'll see me sharing those on my stories. So plant foldies, if you do want to see some more daily content aside from my YouTube plant shopping videos, please follow me on Instagram. You're able to message me directly. I respond to pretty much every single message. And for those that are looking to be sponsored, I am open for sponsorships. I recently got one sponsor to actually let me look at some grow lights. So feel free to send me those messages as well. I am open for some plant care. But as you can see, Instagram is another method that I use to just connect with people. So I hope you guys can take a look at that. Over here, we've got a Hoya carnosa. This is another beautiful Hoya. It's just mostly green, although I did see some spots of variegation. This one is for $19.98. And what I've noticed is with specific Hoyas, the Hoya carnosa is a common one that you will see at a big box store like Home Depot. Notice this one right here. It's a pretty healthy looking one. I would say this may be a Hoya carnosa crimson princess. What a beautiful looking one. It looks like there's some like bird feathers right over here. And speaking of bird feathers, so for those that didn't get to watch my YouTube shorts video of a dove's nest that actually raised 2 baby doves and how they flew away after they were done raising their family, please check that out. And guess what? Today, which is Friday, I discovered in one of the other hanging baskets of pothos that I have another baby dove nest created. So that mother, I'm assuming, is the same family of doves, have just created a new litter. We noticed that there was 1 egg laid, so probably the next day there'll be another egg. So I actually was kind of sad that I didn't get to see the dove family that I got to see for at least about a month every single day on my outdoor patio. But it looks like they're back, and I'm super excited to be able to see them. It is exciting to see that they are creating another family. And I am talking more so about just some of my personal stuff going on right now versus the plants. I will digress and go back to the plants, but please feel free to let me know if you want to see some content about that dove family. It looks like I'll be able to document that journey of theirs. And you can see over here, we've got some alocasia. I don't know what this alocasia is. I'm assuming this might be alocasia regal shield, but notice how it has already some of these little babies popping out. I love the undersides of an alocasia regal shield. That purple color is really nice. And then that thick yellow veining is absolutely stunning. And then I also think that all of the ornamental grasses that we have here is really interesting. Now, this isn't an ornamental grass. This is an actual cordyline tea plant. This one is only for $7.98. What a beautiful looking one. This almost looks like a Dracaena marginata. Now, with the cordyline tea plant, it is a plant that I love. It is a plant that I wish I could grow indoors, but I talk about this in pretty much all of my plant shopping videos. There are some plants that you can take indoors and they will grow just fine, but then there are certain plants like the Hydra helix. And for those that are new to my channel, I actually mispronounced the word Hedera helix, which is for English ivy. But no matter what you do in indoor spaces, for instance, those particular plants like an English ivy or a cordyline tea plant, when brought indoors, they're a little bit more challenging to grow. They're a little bit more finicky. They're definitely more spider mite prone. So there are just certain plants for some reason just are a little bit more spider mite prone, which makes them a little bit more challenging to grow indoors. Now, if you take them outdoors, they do better. And it's the same thing with alocasia. So a lot of people will say alocasias are a little bit challenging as well. I have found the secret to growing alocasia. And if you really want to know, please leave that in the comments, what you think it might be. But what I will say is I'll just go ahead and give you the answer. But for me, whenever there's an alocasia that's struggling, all I have to do is literally take that alocasia outside, put it out in an outdoor patio and with some shade, and just water it just like normal with like a hose, and then eventually it just starts to thrive. So it's the same thing with alocasias. They are a little bit more spider mite prone, but I feel like most plants, if you ever want them to grow larger or even recover or rehab, take them outside when it's springtime or when the weather is a little bit warmer, and you will see the huge improvement for that. And you can see this Home Depot actually has a lot of large foliage plants. Like we're going to look at these Monstera deliciosas. This is for $29.98. I love the fact that my Monstera deliciosas are doing extremely well. I'm super happy that the propagation Monstera that I had, that I pretty much neglected and left in my garage under a grow light, I finally repotted it. It's out in my living room and it's doing very well. It's actually pushing out a lot of new growth. So I'm really happy about that. With Monstera deliciosa like this one is a really nice full one. So there are several Monstera deliciosas. Know that Monstera deliciosas actually get very large, so make sure that you are planning for a larger space. And also know that a Monstera deliciosa will need some type of pole for that to really reach its pure maturity. Now, I did want to show you this right here. So here is another cordyline plant, but I've never really seen a green variety. Typically, plant foldies, you will see that red variety, which is the red maroon variety, but here is just a green one. I really like that a lot. But I did notice, though, this one is only for $19.98 as well. I did notice that there were some mealy bugs on the new growth. So that's definitely not a plant I'm going to pick up and buy. And then here is another cordyline tea plant. That one is the kiwi. And this one is another beautiful plant. Notice how it does get leggy, but that is the natural way of the cordyline tea plant. As it gets more mature, it becomes more woody at the base. But you can see here is the common one that you'll see, the one that's got burgundy maroon color, and sometimes you'll also get that highlight pink color. So there are 3 varieties of cordyline tea plants at this Home Depot. Again, these are also for $19.98 in a 10-inch planter. I do love these as well. I would totally get the green variety just because I don't typically see the green variety, and I have an appreciation for green foliage plants, but that unfortunately had some mealy bugs. Now, plant folies, let me know if you've ever had a mealy bug infestation. That was one reason why I gave up on plants. I really had a bad mealybug infestation a couple years back where I literally had hundreds of plants, but it was so difficult to take care of them and get rid of the pests. So I have been diligent about trying to keep up with my pest control. One way I make sure that I don't have as many pests is by spraying my plants on a weekly basis using my Foldy Mist DIY neem oil spray. For those that want to know the recipe, you basically just need to take a water bottle, a spray bottle, a typical spray bottle you would buy at a store. Take 2 tablespoons of cold pressed neem oil, 2 tablespoons of rubbing alcohol, 2 tablespoons of hydrogen peroxide, a drop of dish soap, and fill it up with water. Shake, 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 and you can spray it on your plant, and it does wonders. It's done very well for me. You can see that over here, we do have this beautiful bromeliad and plant foldies. I've shown you guys a lot of bromeliads in some of my past shopping videos. What do you guys think about bromeliads, and what do you also think about crotons? So crotons, I love crotons. The thing about crotons, they're very similar to ficus. ficus plants. They need a lot of bright light. They are a little bit finicky when things are not consistent. And what I mean about consistency is consistent humidity levels, consistent watering, scheduling, just consistent everything. They do thrive way more so if you take them outside versus growing them indoors. Like I have had so much success so far with one of my croton plants that's just outside in full sun, southern facing light, and it's getting the most intense light, but it's still doing very well. You can see over here, we've got an Alocasia California. Another beautiful Alocasia. It is one that's common that you would see at any big box store like Home Depot, especially Home Depot. And I did want to show you terracotta planters. So a lot of people have asked me like what kind of planters I like. This is the specific planter I like to plant my plants. Notice how it's a very simple matte terracotta planter. I don't really like a lot of textures. I like that there is nothing but a beautiful, elegant shape. I like the minimalistic look of certain planters, and I love the look of terracotta planters. For me, terracotta planters may not be the best planter because I am what you consider an underwaterer. And for those that don't know what that term underwaterer means, it means that I don't water my plants nearly as much as I should. There is another term where you're an overwaterer, where you're basically watering your plant too much. I don't have that problem at all. I will actually not water certain plants for an entire month, and then I'm always like sad that they've kind of declined in their health. It's because they didn't get watered, and that's really one of the embarrassing things that I want to be vulnerable about, is the fact that my watering regimen or my plant care regimen in that aspect is lacking, and so I can't really blame myself if I have some plants that are not doing as well. So I've done better. I am really just taking the time, and I'm also being cognizant about like how many plants I'm adding into my collection. So even if I find a plant during this plant shopping video that I want to buy, it would have to be something either uber rare or something that would really have to entice me, because I am trying to not buy as many plants until I can get a better schedule, a better routine, and just time to enjoy my plants. And as you can see here, plant foldies, I just love looking at plants late at night. They definitely have a more peaceful vibe when it comes to big box or plant shopping. I don't have to like worry about dodging people, trying to get them in the, trying to not get them in the film. So this is just a typical Home Depot, but it's one that has a lot of beautiful plants. Like look at this right here. Here's a beautiful Alocasia Regal Shields. Again, these are for $19.98. Look at how it looks so beautiful. Now with Alocasia Regal Shields, I've grown them indoors before. They just happened to get spider mites. So that was before I actually had that regimen of like spraying my plants with neem oil. I really do think that neem oil repels pests. So it's always a good option to, spray your plants with that. Now here is another interesting plant that some people are really into. I haven't really got into it just because I feel like it's just a common green plant, but this is what you call the cast iron plant. Let me know in the comments if you grow cast iron plants, what the interest is in a cast iron plant. I realize that some people say this plant is actually more of an uncommon plant. But for me, it's not something that I'm running to try and get. And then you can see we've got a bunch of proven winner plants here. So this one is another Alocasia, which I have. Mine is still doing okay. I really need to repot it. And then we've got a beautiful philodendron Rojo Congo. This one is for $29.98 by Proven Winners. Now, Rojo Congo philodendron is a beautiful philodendron. It is a philodendron that gets very large. I've seen some really large sizes of them. Some people will say that it is another common philodendron, but for me, common plants are common because they're either easy to care for or they're just popular and there's a big demand for it. Therefore, people have propagated and multiplied the plant. I've been going to like different types of like restaurants and stores, and I've noticed that a lot of plants that are common are seen at these interiors, and I find them beautiful. I remember going to a place out in Plano, I think it's in Plano, called 60 Vines, where they had a bunch of cool looking philodendrons and just common plants. And a lot of these common plants are seen at big box stores, and that's why plant foldies, if you enjoy just watching all of these beautiful plants in front of your screen and to listen to me talk for an hour about my thoughts about plants, plant pricing, plant care, anything that might be related to plants or even my personal life, I hope that you've already taken the time to hit the subscribe button, but not only hit the subscribe button, but also hit the notification bell. That way you're always in tune with when I do live premieres. I typically try to do live premieres within 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. I am going to the Philippines for those that don't, who have just seen this video today, and I already have a couple of plant marathons, plant compilations scheduled to go, so that way we can have our live premiere chats as well. You can see I pulled a lot of these plants. Like this one is another beautiful calathea. It's got a little bit of a fuzzy leaf about it, and you can see that all of these calatheas, this one's actually a thenanthe. Well, actually, yeah, this is a thenanthe plant, not a calathea plant. I do like the look of it. Here it is. It's a thenanthe setosa for 1998. Now, all of the calathea plants, marantha plants, thenanthes, stromanthes, all of those plants are very similar in their plant care. I have found the most successful way to be able to grow them is literally to grow them in hydroponic, meaning you want to grow them in just a bowl of water with some plant food. That way you don't have to worry about whether you're keeping up with the watering. For me, it has helped a ton. For me, I've been able to grow these plants, and these calatheas are still giving me that beautiful foliage that, you know, most people are enticed to look at. You know, the thing about calatheas is they're very tempting. They're a very beautiful looking plant. You go to a store, you want to buy it because they've got some beautiful foliage. Give it about 2 weeks and then they're brown and crispy, at least in my experience. Maybe you guys are a little bit more caring. Maybe you're more of like a helicopter plant parent. But for me, I need plants that are going to be able to fit my lifestyle. And that is, you know, a very busy lifestyle, low maintenance plants that are a little bit more forgiving when you neglect them. And so that's the reason why I like to show you these different types of plants. Like this one right here, philodendron red sun. Beautiful philodendron. It's another plant that is easy to care for. You do need to give it better lighting. Like bright indirect light is really the sweet spot for a lot of you know, philodendrons are just plants in general, but that one is another plant that can take a little bit less watering. So if you're not as good at watering plants on a consistent basis, that philodendron sun red is a plant that I would recommend because it's a little bit more forgiving. Now I'm looking at these hydroponics. So this is what I mean about hydroponic. Hydroponic is where they have just the bare roots and water. So there's not like a soil substrate. This one is by Proven Winners, and they call these the H2O bowls. The sad part is I don't think a lot of people are really buying these hydroponic plants. I like them. I do think that they're a little bit pricey. I believe these are for like $19.98. And basically they're just like water propagations. That one was an Epipremnum aureum golden pothos. This one is a syngonium. I would even say this is a syngonium confetti, but you notice that this one is called syngonium snow white. Proven Winners has this thing about naming their plants or their hybrids, and they're entitled to do so. But this one is just a common syngonium. It's a beautiful one. They need to put some water though, because they're about to run out of these, you know, water out of those hydroponic situations that we got here. But as I pan away, look at all of these plants. I love looking at them. Plant foliage, you know, I get excited showing you all of these plants that we probably see every single day. This one is by Vigoro. This is another Monstera adansonii for $14.98. That's in a 6-inch planter. And so there are many varieties of 6-inch planters by Vigoro. Vigoro Plants is another, you know, plant nursery that really sources a lot of its plants out to Home Depot. I'm not 100% sure if that is like a Home Depot brand for plants, but you'll see Vigoro is all over Home Depot. This one is for $14.98. Epipremnum aureum neon pothos, another plant that I feel like for $14.98, that is not bad at all. I believe that whenever you buy a plant like a neon pothos, you end up saving some money because it is fairly priced for the most part and easy to propagate. This one is a Hoya carnosa. This one is also for $14.98. This is probably one of the more common Hoyas. And for my Hoya lovers, you already know if I find a Hoya, I will feature it. And I'm just going to dig through here. This one is a better looking Hoya carnosa. Notice how there is a little bit more variegation here. I love that pink. I just love that cream variegation. I want to get more so into Hoya. So here's the thing. I will be going to PlantCon 2024 in Dallas, which is going to be on August 31st, September 1st. I have the early bird special where basically I can go in and do my plant shopping for an hour. Honestly, I want to do a lot of plant shopping video footage for this, so that way I don't have to dodge a lot of people. But one of my plant goals is to buy a couple of Hoyas. I saw a bunch of uncommon Hoyas at the Plant Con in Houston. And Plant Foldies, if you haven't seen the Plant Con Houston video, please check it out. It is on the main page of my YouTube channel. You'll get an idea of what plants you'll see. I intend to really get detailed plant videos, hours and hours. I'm going both days in order for me to really showcase some of these rare and uncommon plants. Now, this one right here is not really a rare and uncommon plant anymore. This is an Alocasia poly. I will say this one is notorious for being more spider mite prone Alocasia. Now, this one is an easy to care for plant. This one is for $8.98. This is just a regular ZZ plant. I love ZZ plants because they are forgiving. They are able to tolerate lower light conditions. They are able to thrive in neglect, meaning if you don't really water them for quite a while, they'll be just fine. Actually, the way to kill them is if you actually overwater a ZZ plant. Now, here's another plant in like a terracotta planter. This one is for $10.98. Now, this is another croton. This is a croton batik. And look at that. Doesn't that look like it is literally on fire? It's just amazing to see croton plants. And there was actually one croton plant that I seen. It was basically almost a tree form. I would say it was about a good 10 feet tall. It was at Archie's Greenland, which is a local Fort Worth nursery that had it. It was actually in bloom too. It was absolutely stunning. And then you can see right here, we've got a beautiful Chiflera plant or umbrella tree plant. This is another beautiful plant that I like. This one is for $10.98. It is another beautiful plant that I am all about. You can see how gorgeous it is. And even it just being a green variety, just how delicate the leaves look like. And it's just a beautiful plant. It is an easy to care for plant. I would recommend a Chiflera plant for any beginners. For sure, that is another common plant. And then this is everybody's favorite. This is are you guys ready? Hydra helix. This is the Hedera helix or English ivy. For my plant foldies, you already know that's what number 1 or 2 in this video. I don't know why you guys keep track of how many times I say Hydra helix, but for those that are new to the channel, some of you guys might like how I say it. Some of you may not. I've been told that it was very cringy. I've been told that they have to mute it. I'm so sorry, but I have pulled back a little bit, but for my original plant foldies and for the ones that really appreciate my most authentic self, I've got to say Hedera helix. Actually, no, I got to say Hydra helix. Okay, I'm going to stop for real. Here we have a peperomia plant right here. This is a peperomia frost. It's another beautiful peperomia. This one is for $10.98. Now, here's the thing I would say about peperomia plants. Peperomia plants are easy to care for plants. They come in many different varieties. There's certain ones that are a little bit easier than others. I prefer the larger leaf peperomias, like the peperomia teardrop or watermelon peperomia. I ended up getting a variegated watermelon peperomia from PETA's Planters and Plant Foldies. You've got to watch the PETA Planters local plant nursery videos. I've done 2 of them already. It is a local small business plant shop in Dallas, Texas. They have some amazing plants, so please make sure we are supporting Lupita and her partner on their small business. They've got some amazing plants. And you can see over here, we've got a beautiful calathea as well. It almost looks like a calathea orbifolia, but that's not quite the calathea orbifolia. The name of that particular calathea kind of escapes my mind for a second. And then we have a not so great looking red marantha here. I do like prayer plants. They do say that prayer plants are a little bit less finicky than say a calathea. I ended up getting a really nice variegated prayer plant from a planting with Pete, and I'm glad that he finally got the variegated orchid that I sent him. And then I'm really happy that the plant winner for the Monstera Thai constellation she was, I think her name is Yahaira. She was able to finally get her Monstera Thai constellation in the mail. She showed me some pictures. I'm glad it made it. Now, USPS didn't have the best way to deliver it, so I do apologize for any future plant plants that I send out. I'm not the best at packing plants. I'm just glad that the plants finally made it to their respective owners. I do currently have a free plant giveaway on my Instagram for a variegated philodendron domesticanum. So that's one of those rare and uncommon philodendrons. It actually has really good variegation, just the same way as this Epipremnum aureum golden pothos has some good variegation. But in order to actually try to win that particular plant, you have to have an Instagram account. You have to follow me on Instagram. My Instagram name is @growfolds. You have to find the reel that has the plant, the free plant giveaway, like it, and then tag a minimum of 4 people to the post. That's one entry. But if you tag multiple people after the 4th one, that's multiple entries. For each tag is an additional entry for the random drawing. So for those that want to try and win that plant, definitely check that out. And then you can see here, these are the $7.98 plants. I like this a lot, and I actually am so tempted. When I say I'm so tempted, I'm really tempted to buy this Epipremnum aureum Enjoy pothos. I love the white variegation. It is another pothos that is a little bit slower growing, but it is another plant that I absolutely love. It's an easy to care for plant. I did recognize that this plant is a little bit more thirsty. You don't really want to not water it. It's not as forgiving as, say, a golden pothos, but it is another plant that it's really easy to take care of. What do you guys think? Should I go ahead and buy that Epipremnum aureum Enjoy pothos or leave it be? Here's another easy to care for plant for $7.98. This one is a bird's nest sansevieria, and you can see there are multiple bird's nest sansevieria. There's at least 3 in this little 4-inch planter. Again, these are for $7.98. You can see this is another bird's nest sansevieria. I've had these in the past, and what I do like about snake plants or sansevieria is that they do produce what they call pups or little babies that you can separate from them. So it is another plant that self-propagates. It's another plant that you can save money because you can multiply it easily. And you can see as I pan away here, there's just so many other plants available. And while these plants are more common to easy care plants, it is another place where if you just want to start your plant collection, I would recommend going to Home Depot. I mean, you can see here, this is another sansevieria trifasciata. This one I believe is for $10.98. With these sansevieria or snake plants, these plants are the plants that can tolerate lower light conditions. The thing about it is you don't want to overwater any of these snake plants. They will get root rot. They prefer to be more so on the drier side. I mean, for the most part, they're very similar to succulents, except that they can tolerate lower light conditions. You can see right over here, we've got another cordyline plant, that green cordyline plant for $19.98. But if you want to know what mealybugs look like, I'm just going to go ahead and show you. Do you see that fuzzy stuff right there? Yeah, that is a bunch of mealybugs, and you definitely don't want to buy that plant for sure. And I really wouldn't buy any of the plants that are in close proximity because those spread very easily. I mean, you got to think it's outside, so the wind could blow some of them onto these plants, which is unfortunate. So I go to this next topic about just how while big box stores are more cost effective to buy plants, there is a bigger risk of getting plant pests to hitchhike into your actual plant collection, because I mean, they are just exposed to different types of elements. They're exposed to different types of people. And I would even say the workers that work at big box stores may not necessarily prioritize all of these beautiful plants because, you know, they've got a lot of other tasks. This is not basically a nursery that specializes in plant care. So that's just one caution I would have about big box store plants. When you buy a big box store plant, or even any type of plant that you buy, even at a local plant nursery, I would say even taking this Dracaena, for instance, spraying the leaves down with like a neem oil spray, insecticidal soap, or some type of pest preventative, spraying the tops of the leaves, the bottom of the leaves, the stems, the the top of the soil and even the bottom of the pot with the drainage holes, just to get rid of as many potential pests that might be hitchhiking, and then just quarantining the plant. But you can see here, I actually want to buy one of these dracaenas. I mean, look at how beautiful that variegation is. And again, with that dracaena, it is another easy to care for plant. This is a plant that can grow in lower light conditions. And again, whenever you have a plant that can grow in lower light conditions, that becomes a little bit easier to grow in terms of just an indoor plant, because most of our indoor spaces may not necessarily have the correct lighting conditions. So a dracaena like this for $14.98 would be an easy to care for plant. I would highly recommend it. I would even recommend this particular dracaena as a first starter plant. I think that it would do very well for anybody that's just starting to get into house plants. And you can see here, this is another cast iron plant. I do like the green leaf, just the green tone of the cast iron plant. You can see this one has a larger leaf right over here. They almost remind me of like iris leaves. And then you can see over here, we've got a bunch of palms. We've got a large Dracaena marginata. But you can see there's just many looking, nice looking plants that you can pick from. We've got a ZZ plant right over here. Some Ficus elastica burgundy. What a beautiful dark foliage plants. And you already know plant folies. I love my dark foliage plants. I talk about that in a lot of my videos and try to feature them. And then I have a bunch of other plants here. Now, for those that love succulents and cactus, this section is for you. I'll go to the other plants in just a sec, but notice how this Home Depot has their cactus really organized. And look at this. This is interesting right here. Oops, something fell. I'm going to definitely put that back into the pot in just a second. I'm not sure if the actual needles are a little bit prickly, so I'm going to have to be a little bit cautious about that. Let me see if I can actually get this into the pot. Notice how it's already got some roots. We're just going to leave it there for a second. I'm going to try to just figure it out. I'm a little cautious. Oh, another one fell off. I am just like, I promise I'm not trying to like hurt this plant. Okay, it's back in there. I don't know about that small one right there. Some people would even try to propagate that, but you can see, look at all of these cactus. Look at how all of them have different levels of spikiness. This one I actually like right here. It looks a little bit more friendly. It doesn't look as prickly, but we have some that are insanely prickly, and I am a little bit more concerned about even touching that. Look at this one right here. And this one is what you call the golden barrel cactus. This one actually gets very large, but it's very prickly. And you notice that this one right here has more fuzzy texture. It's not really like needles, but it is just such an interesting world when it comes to cactus. I don't know a lot about them, but some people are really into cactus. I would like to add a cactus into my collection, but the thing about it is just like succulents is what I'm trying to say. They just require a lot of bright light. And I feel like if I don't have the right lighting conditions for a plant, I don't really want to bring it into my home. I do have some grow lights. I have a bunch of Sansi grow lights actually that I ended up getting from Amazon, and they've done very well in terms of just supplementary plant supplementary light for the plants is what I'm trying to say. So plant folies, let me know what plant grow lights that you like to use for your plants, what works for you, how do you like them, and which ones you would recommend for anybody that wants to put some grow lights in their plant collection. I have quite a bit of grow lights in my home, especially in dark corners, just so I can give some supplementary light. Typically, even the plants that are in dark corners that are more low light tolerant, I still want to provide them with optimal lighting conditions, because plants will always thrive. They'll have a faster growth rate when they have light available for them. I mean, you can see here, these are what you call Haworthia plants. So these are Haworthia. So they're a type of succulent. And surprisingly, Haworthias are actually a little bit more low light tolerant. They don't necessarily need to have a lot of bright light. I would say that it is a succulent, so by default they probably prefer more light, but they're a little bit more tolerant, which makes them a little bit easier to grow in an indoor space. But as you can see right here, we've just got rows and rows of different types of succulents. If you ask me what my favorite type of succulent it is, I would say my favorite succulent variety would be what you call Aeoniums. I haven't seen any Aeoniums in this particular this particular selection here, but you can see they've got even succulent arrangements in planters. Those would make perfect full sun planters. I say full sun, but then again, I've learned my lesson in terms of like what plants you can grow, and not all not all succulents can grow in full sun. Now I grew what they call Aeoniums. That is my favorite type of succulent, and they do extremely well. I love the look of Aeoniums. They have these beautiful shapes to them, and it's another plant that I want to be able to grow, but I feel like my area, Texas, is just extremely hot. That's really the downfall of just living in Texas. I would just say our summers are brutal, and certain plants are just not tolerant of that. I will say jade plant has done well for me. It's a little bit easier for me to manage jade plants, but it is another plant that I think I'm just more familiar with. Whenever I look at succulents, I just think of jade plants, because as I was growing up, my grandmother, who is literally the reason why you guys are seeing me do plant shopping videos, she got me into plants at an early age, and she grew jade plants. But for the most part, I don't know a lot about succulents. So for you, or for anybody that's actually watching this video, please let me know in the comments section if you have any succulent care tips. I mean, you can see here, this is a rainbow elephant bush. I like the look of this one as well. This would make such a cool looking bonsai. There are a couple of succulent plants that I would love to convert into bonsai. My variegated jade plant is doing extremely well. I converted it into bonsai. It's actually in bonsai soil, and the difference between bonsai soil versus like potting mix is it's very porous. There's a lot of fast drainage, and that's what you want for your succulent or cactus plants. They have succulent mixes, but truthfully, I would even suggest adding more pumice and perlite to the mix to make it fast draining. Here is a beautiful string of pearls. I actually want to get a variegated version of string of pearls. This one is for $12.98, and my family is from the Philippines, so what I would say is the string of pearls is actually a great addition to any succulent type plant. This is another what you call a Senecio. It's part of the Senecio family. And with string of pearls for $12.98, that is not a bad price at all. I was actually able to find a variegated string of hearts. So super excited for that. It was also for $12.98. And you can see here, we've got a Ficus benjamina. This is a variegated form. I like the look of a variegated Ficus benjamina. I just know better to actually put it into my home, because Ficus benjamina, they will drop their leaves when you introduce them to your home. They just tend to do that. So you actually have to make sure that you are aware of it, because ficus plants like Ficus benjamina, they just tend to have an acclimation period. Ficus plants in general, you really don't want to move them around a lot, but Ficus benjamina, they're considered like an indoor tree form, although I don't think that they're necessarily an indoor tree, because they require a lot of light. But if you're able to grow them in a mature form, they are absolutely stunning. That's the thing about ficus plants. I don't really have a lot of ficus plants. I'm slightly struggling with my ficus lyrata or fiddle fig leaf, and that's the only reason why, because I'm not necessarily staying on top of the consistency in the watering. But you can see here tons and tons and tons of beautiful succulent arrangements. I like the fact that Smart Plants already has mixed containers of succulents. It kind of takes away from the guessing game of whether you have to have certain succulents or cactus. And I do love the cactus arrangements as well. And you can see over here, these are some interesting ones. These are the Altman Reserve ones right here. Look at that. Look at how cool that is. They almost look like starfish almost. And you can see that there is that red color on some of those spikes right there. What an interesting looking plant. Not sure what it is. I'm going to try to figure out what that plant ID is. Let me just keep taking a look at some of these ones. This one right over here is another one. I'm trying to look for a price as well. I think these are $19.98. Not 100% sure, but we'll go ahead and just keep looking. Well, let's look at this right here. So this one is a aloe Christmas sleigh. So this is an aloe vera plant. What an interesting looking one. And this one is for $19.98. Let's see what this one is. This one is, it won't focus, some type of agave plant. And then look at this cool gray cactus plant right here. I really do like the look of that one. This one is a Euphorbia horrida hybrid for $19.98. Look at that. That is so cool. Now with this plant, again, it looks like it would, it's actually either getting ready to bloom. Like I said, again, I don't know too much about these cactus. I don't know a lot about euphorbias, but what I do know is there are a lot of people that are just really into the cactus and succulents. There are some extremely rare ones that go for hundreds of dollars. You know, I always thought that like philodendron or aroids, which are pretty much the popular type of plant to grow indoors or just plant collecting in general, had really high prices. But I've looked at certain rare cactus and even succulents, and they can rival that. Now, my opinion about plant pricing, rare plants, if you want to call them rare plants, is the reason why people will spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars on a specific plant. We can utilize like maybe the variegated philodendron billetiae, right? It's still quite a bit, maybe not as high as maybe 3 to 4 years ago, but it's still quite a bit. The reason why it is high is because there may not be enough available for the demand. And then number two, there are people that are willing to spend that money. That's basically what causes, you know, plants to be a certain price. Like I, for instance, will not pay more than $20 for a philodendron pink princess. I would like to find philodendron pink princess for a much cheaper price. I found them on clearance for $7. And so I wait for when things go on clearance, because I know that some plants, you know, on average, say like a philodendron pink princess or white princess, will be around the $20 range. And that's the reason why I've learned a lot being in a big box store, doing a plant shopping video. I can see what prices are currently and what is like a really good deal, or what is a little bit more expensive. So for my plant foldies that watch this video, especially if you're in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, I would hope you guys have subscribed to my channel, because I'm literally doing plant shopping videos and showing you plants, potential pricing, so we know what's in our market. This one is for $24.98. So you talk about the yellow rose of Texas, you're looking at it. This is the yellow rose of Texas. Look at how beautiful that is. Very beautiful yellow color. My mother's favorite color is actually yellow. It is a beautiful color. It is the color of joy. A lot of people consider yellow the color of joy. It does bring a lot of brightness into the space, and it's just a really happy color. Speaking of happy colors, can we talk about how beautiful all of these caladiums are? I love caladiums. I have increased my caladium collection. My whole front patio is full of caladiums and coleus plants. That is my current plant obsession. I love coleus plants. I actually got home from a very long and demanding day at work, and I forgot to water my coleus plants this morning as I was leaving. I was running a little bit late, and I realized how some of them have really looked like wrinkly, and so I had to immediately water them. That is the only drawback about these beautiful coleus plants, is that they have to stay watered daily, especially in hot conditions like Texas. Like we are in the high 90s today. I'm pretty sure we're about to break 100 soon, but coleus plants, they can't handle that. They can't handle drying out. They will definitely let you know. They are very dramatic, but they're also dramatic to the point where if you don't like say if I didn't water my coleus plants today and I went another day without them, most of them would end up crisping up and dying. So that is the only drawback I see about coleus plants. Otherwise, they're so easy to care for. This right here, though, these crotons right here, these croton petras, are not really easy to care for plants, but it is another beautiful plant that if you grow them outdoors, it's easier to manage. And you can see here at Home Depot, any Home Depot, you will see that a lot of their tropical plants for like outdoor spaces are always put together. So you can see that is a cordyline Hawaiian tea plant. We've got a bunch of hibiscus. Now, if you're gonna ask me, I prefer the hibiscus that are more native to my area. Those hibiscus are definitely easier to grow in my grow zone, which is 8B. And then we can see right here, we've got a bunch of different plants that we're gonna take a look at. Let's take a look at this. So this I thought was actually a sunflower type plant, but this is actually some type of daisy, black-eyed Susan. This is a black-eyed Susan. Look at that. That looks actually pretty cool. Sometimes I find certain plants' names are just really hilarious and interesting. So I'm just curious, if you were to name a plant a certain plant name, what would the name be? Say if it was like a certain variegated Monstera with a lot of white variegation. Leave that in the comments. I'm curious. And if you were to actually rename some of these caladiums, what would you call this one? I don't know what the particular variety of this is, but these are Vigoro plants again. I love that these are available. I love caladiums. I think the reason why I like caladiums is because they have such fun colors. Like some of it doesn't even look real. Some people might even find their patterns a little bit more obnoxious. I find them endearing. I find them interesting, and I find that caladiums are an easy to care for plant, especially when you're growing them outdoors. Now for my grow zone, which is 8B, I can grow those caladium bulbs in the ground, have them come up every summer, have them grow and then die off in the winter, and then next year they'll grow and actually spread even more bulbs and have more plants. So that's the thing about caladiums. They are perennials, and these ones are for $6.98. They almost look like syngoniums almost, which is why I find it interesting that it has more of like a triangular arrow leaf shape. But what's interesting about caladiums too is just the colors. I've seen some really white translucent colors, and that means that a lot of these plants need to be in shade. Caladiums are a perfect plant to grow in a more shaded area. Now, if you can provide it with bright light in the morning, you're gonna get the best coloration. That's the thing about caladiums. They definitely need bright light in order to really thrive. But you can see we have so many different colors. I really like the look of the caladium, and it is another plant that I would recommend if you wanna have like a really cool looking patio container plant. Now, Proven Winners is really coming out with some amazing caladium hybrids. Like look at that right there. And let's see what the name is. This one is Radiant, and I will tell you, it is definitely radiant. Look at how beautiful the colors are. I like that red and then that pink. I already know that I've mentioned this before, but I absolutely love pink plants. I think pink plants are just gorgeous. Anything pink related, pink variegation, pink planters, pink everything, I love. And that's the reason why I am all about these caladiums. This one is Blushing Bride. Look at that subtle pink that we have here, just speckles of pink. And then we just have different types of caladiums. I don't know all of the common caladium varieties. I used to, like that one right there is a really common one, like this leaf right here. Love the pink, super cool. I've seen some really cool hybrids of caladiums coming from Indonesia and Thailand. So that's another thing I would want to experiment. So Plant Foldies, have you guys grown caladiums indoors? If you do, let me know. And you already know we have to look at Hydra Helix. Here's another English ivy. You already know the story. Love English ivy. They hate me, but I still love saying Hydra Helix. All right, I'm gonna really stop. I actually get excited. If you can only see my face when I say it, I think it's so silly that I'm into saying Hydra Helix. So let me go ahead and stop. Now, Plant Foldies, let me know if you ever catch yourself saying Hydra Helix or the way I mispronounce it. Leave that in the comments. I know Terry, one of my Plant Foldies, leaves like 10 Hydra Helix shout outs in the comments. I challenge somebody to see if they can beat Terry on how many times they can put Hydra Helix in the comment section. Please do. I will respond to every single one. I will say Hydra Helix again. Anyways, this one is an Asiatic Jasmine tricolor. I ended up buying this because this is another type of ground cover that I like. And I've been finding like ground cover type plants, growing them in containers with the hopes of being able to take them indoors to grow them as an indoor plant. Whenever you think about plants, there is not a true indoor plant. Every single plant that you find that's labeled as an indoor plant came from the wild, came from outdoors. It just so happens that certain plants do better indoors than others. So we're gonna see if the Asiatic Jasmine, which is currently growing out in my front patio in a container, if I'll be able to take that inside and grow it into like a hanging basket. But Plant Foldies, what do you think so far of all the beautiful plants? Look at this sea of beautiful caladiums. Look at how luminous and white it is in this darkness that we have at night. I love plant shopping at night. I think it's really relaxing, and I really love taking you alongside with me when it comes to the plant shopping videos. I find it really fun, and I always say this in all my videos, but I'm really humbled and thankful that you guys tune into the comments, tune into the live premiere chats, and really just make me feel valued as an individual that's really trying to make this plant content. While my videos might not necessarily be the most edited videos, I don't have these special effects, I just like to give you my raw insights, just the things that I come up with in my head to be able to educate you guys with some of my plant care tips. I'm not perfect. I told myself multiple times where if I just listened to my own plant care tips, maybe I wouldn't have so many plants hitting plant heaven. I've had a couple of plants make plant heaven. You know, my friends Steven at I Live Plants, make sure you take a look at his YouTube channel, as well as Janae Simone. We have just a running joke about plants that made it to plant heaven. And then plant foldies, be sure to stay tuned for some of our collabs. We are thinking about doing a plant podcast as well, so definitely take a look at that. But plant foldies, as I just do some of my final walking around this Home Depot, while they didn't have as many plants as say like a local plant nursery, and I hope you guys have taken a look at my North Haven Gardens latest video. That one is a local plant nursery in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So many beautiful plants. I will still give credit to this Home Depot because they had quite a bit of plants. They look very healthy. There was just one that had some mealy bugs that gives me a little bit concerned, but overall, if you're just ever looking to relax somewhere, I would recommend driving to one of your big box stores and just really soaking up that ambience of all of these plants late at night. So plant foldies, if you like this video, please make sure you hit the like button. I really hope you enjoyed this installment of some late night relaxing plant shopping at a big box store. This is Richie at Grow Folds. Please subscribe with my notification bell on. I will definitely see you on the next one. Bye.